Hi there, welcome to the Lad Mix Farm channel. Satha here. Today we'd like to look at how to effectively feed your goats for optimum growth. We know that goats have their own tendencies, have their own nature, the way they behave and so forth. For instance, these are animals that are not going to go out so early because they are easily affected by foot rot if they go out early when there is dew in the grass. And so if they are going to go a little bit later, we need to know how to manage this process and ensure that they go out, yes, later, on time, benefit most by the time the day is ending. And so it is very important that you plan for your goats and get to know the feeding schedule that you are supposed to follow so that you can get the most out of these goats. Now, you need to feed your goats at least 6 hours a day. If they go out or they are feeding, even if it's zero grazing and they get all this food on time, then it becomes very, very good. But at this point, I would like to look at for those that take the animals out to graze and then bringing them back in, say those on free range. You need to ensure that your goats at least are feeding for a minimum of 6 hours a day. Now, how do you do that? You need to learn how to break down this time and make sure that you're benefiting most and make sure that you meet that quota of time to ensure that your goats are getting the most out of it. You need to plan in such a way that you send out your goats twice a day. You'll start by sending them out at 10:30 in the morning to go out to feed. Remember, by 10:30 in most cases the dew has subsided, and if it's there, it's a little, unless if it has rained, then that changes everything, because still you have to take them out. There's no way you can remain with goats because it has rained. They need to go out and feed. But ensure in the morning to take them at around 10:30 to go and graze, and therefore you'll be able to leave them there to graze up to exactly 1. Then you can be able to bring them back home. Now, when you bring them, remember when they're out there, they're just basically picking, trying to eat a lot and fill their tummies. They are not chewing the cud also. And so they'll be able to come back. But remember, before you take them, you've already given them water in the morning. They go when they are not thirsty and they've had enough water. Once you take them at 10:30, return them at 1. At 1, they come in, they're already getting thirsty, then they drink water. If you have salt mineral block, they'll start leaking on that, and then they rest. When they rest, they now start chewing the cud. As they chew the cud, of course, they are refining that food they've been getting. That's when they benefit most, not when they're out there, but when they're actually chewing the cud. And that's when the conversion is actually taking place. That's what helps it to put on the weight. So you allow it to go and do the picking, come back at 1, and be able to start chewing the cud. Then it will remain there. After it has rested enough, you'll be able again to send it out at 3 p.m. 3 p.m., take it back again to the grazing ground. Why? Because even from between 10:30 and 1, the sun is not yet so intense. They are able to feed. But between 1 and 3, you notice that much as they are resting, it is also very hot. And therefore, they will not be able to concentrate. They'll be trying to find shade and so forth. So when you bring them back, you're kind of reducing that heat stress on them. They're able to rest in the shade in the houses where they reside as they chew the cud. And then you take them back from 3 to 6:30. Now at that point, of course, they are also going to peak again for the second time. They've been resting, but also shielding themselves from intense heat. And then from 3 to 6:30, they go back and again start peaking. You see, when they come back at 6:30, you'll see the animal when it's completely full, well satiated. It has taken in a lot of feeds, and then to use that to chew the cud throughout the night. Now, by doing that, you have ensured that you've given it ample time to really be able to feed optimally. But also ensure to put a block salt there, or put local salt in the water or somewhere, so that they keep on chewing or licking that salt. It helps them. First of all, they'll get thirsty, they'll drink a lot of water, but also these salts are full of minerals and therefore provide those components that are lacking out there when they're feeding. It helps them to complement those nutrients that could be missing out there as they go to feed. Give them multivitamin injection each time you are going to do maybe your deworming. You should be having a schedule where you provide these multivitamin injections or orally to make sure that you're supplementing, you make sure that they're having a complete food requirement in the system. This will take them for a specific period of time, but also increases on the appetite for these goats, because you want that when they go out there, they're full of appetite and they're going to eat on this grass and try to make the most out of it. Ensure to have, as I said, sufficient amount of water at all times, not making sure that the troughs are empty and then you leave it. No, you should be able to monitor and make sure if it's over, get in more jerry cans of water. If you have a well designed system and you have a tap, open the tap and fill the water and ensure that they continue drinking. Remember, if there's salt in these waters or if they are leaking on salt and so forth, they drink a lot. And if you're not careful, you might think there's water when there's actually no water. It's even worse during the dry season. They can drink water, which is very good for them, because then we'll make sure that they get all that they feel they need and be able to grow properly. Then ensure to have good management, as I told you. Ensure that they adhere to the timely schedule of this routine of taking out the animals from 10:30 up to 1, then from 3 to 6:30. Sometimes if you don't follow that, there's a tendency of people to relax, especially if you're not available. If you have a good manager around, or if the herdsmen are very passionate about it, they will not just sit. A passionate herdsman will, they kind of communicate with their animals. They want to make sure that everything is moving on well. You don't need to tell them. He'll just wake up, whether it's too hot or not. For him, he feels happy when the animal is there, he's eating, when the animal is feeding or, getting enough water. If it's not okay, before it even starts getting worse and so, sick and so forth, they're able to detect and tell you. You really see passion and knowledge and zeal to really do their job best. That's a passionate, herdsman. So you need to have people who are passionate to look after your animals, management to make sure that they are continuously observing and monitoring that everything is going up to plan. Ensure, as the owner of the business, to go there. Visit regularly, spend some nights at your farm, come and announce. You don't have to announce that you're coming, because you need to look at how things are going when you're not around. And if you need some corrective action, then you can be able to advise them, or get a consultant, or visit other farms and request other farmers who have goats to come and visit you. There you'll be able to, see how things are going on your farm and be able to move things properly. So by monitoring yourself, you make sure that you own the process, make sure you give adequate time, and then, of course, ensure that you provide proper payment, adequate payment, and timely. And that is to ensure that your farm workers remain motivated and do their job very well. You'll find that your animals are very healthy, they are growing well without any incidences. And if you have any challenges of outbreaks in the community, because you have vaccinated your animals, you'll find that you don't have some of these challenges. You are properly feeding your animals, so they'll be having a stronger immune system to fight back and maintain a good health. Thank you so much. If you consider this information helpful, please consider subscribing. Our regulars, we thank you so much. And then if you're new, why not subscribe and also share with your colleagues. Press the notification bell, like our videos, thereby allowing more people to see this kind of information. We want to be able to journey together, and please send in your comments, your pieces of advice, and be able to respond where we can. Thank you so much.